So, hello everybody. This is Melinda from WYN Conferences. This is the day to WYN Croatia Summit 2022. So, our speaker is Klaus Moto. Unfortunately, is not in the online. So he has shared his pre-recorded session with us. So, if you have any questions, you can post in the messages tab so that we can email to him. Thank you so much for understanding. Have a great day.
Here I am introducing Klaus Major. Klaus has 40 plus years of international work experience in F&B, including 21 years for the Walt Disney Corp, developing a wide range of concepts for F&B operations in theme parks and hotels. He was leading teams to create the food systems for Disney's California Adventure and Hong Kong Disneyland, from ideation, concepting, supply chain development to operational startup. He also worked for 4.5 years for Metro C&C, a self-service wholesaler based in Germany. In his role as head of corporate target group marketing, his teams were responsible to set a strategy for hospitality sales for 6,000 plus sales reps in 30 countries. Today he is working as sector leader food and agriculture for business climate leaders. This is the introduction of Class Major. Thank you.
So this is Melinda Roy. I'm the host of this WYN conferences. So the speaker is not in online, so he has shared his pre-recorded session with us. So this is the last session. This is the last session at the Day 2 WYN Croatia Summit 2022. Thank you so much for your support. So I'll share the video of the class maker.
From very second. I've been working with business climate leaders to develop information and educational materials for the food and agriculture sector related to climate change, mitigation, and adaptation. Business Climate Leaders is a volunteer organization staffed with mostly retired senior level executives from various sectors of the economy. I worked for the Walt Disney Company for 21 years, designing food systems for theme parks, hotels, and entertainment centers in California and in Hong Kong. From ideation to operational startup, including supply chain development. Then I worked for the German food wholesaler Metro Cash and Carry as head of corporate target group marketing with teams of analysts operating in 30 countries. The topic today is an introduction to the key trends that combine to shape the future of food. So with that, let me share my screen and start the slideshow here. So empowering the transition to regenerative organic agriculture is the topic that I've been choosing here. Let's take a look at our world today. Land and water resources farmers rely on are stressed to a breaking point globally. 10% of the 8 billion global population is undernourished today. 3 billion people lack access to a healthy diet. And by 2050, there will be 2 billion more mouths to feed. So what are the key factors impacting the future of food? One is the global impacts of a changing climate. The other one is the need to repair soil and watersheds. Shifting into regenerative agriculture principles to restore soil and watersheds. Chemical pollution and nutrient deficiency in our food supply. Thoughts about supporting the transition for the industry, and trends in labeling and consumer education. So let's dive right in the global impacts of a changing climate. These are images from the Hoover Dam and Lake Mead, which is fed by the Colorado River. The Colorado River is one of the most important tributaries in the United States, supplying water to over 40 million people, but importantly, over 70% of that water is being used for agriculture. Both Southern California and Arizona are providing the vast majority of winter vegetables in the United States. So as we're heading into this winter, you can see these images here, how the water levels have receded. Here's another picture of that same location, where you can see that the water level has dropped by over 200 feet. And you can see this is a trend. This is a 22-year image here that shows the dramatic decline of water levels to the point where they have to shut down the hydroelectric capacity of this dam. Drought conditions in China, also very current. China has had a drought that is so severe that they had to shut down their hydroelectric capacity. You can see these water levels here also are insufficient to supply agriculture, and China is a major agricultural producer at the global stage. Let's take a look at Europe. And these are the current today pieces of information. Germany, the Rhine River, drying up to the point where it can no longer support shipping. It can no longer support hydroelectric power generation. You have similar scenarios in Italy, in France, in Spain, in England, and the long-range forecast, important to understand, is not providing any upbeat news either. Conversely, we have worldwide flooding incidences. Here's one in Uganda, catastrophic floods in the eastern region, wiping out the entire agricultural production. On the left side here in the United States, we also have flooding scenarios in several counties throughout the United States. So what we are seeing in general is an intensification of climate patterns to where it rains less often, in many cases leading to prolonged droughts. But when it does rain, it comes down in much more intensive ways, which makes it very difficult for the soil and the existing infrastructure to absorb these high volumes of water. So that brings us to the need to repair soil and watersheds. So what do we mean by that? Farmers have been able to boost agricultural productivity by irrigating more land, applying heavier doses of fertilizers and pesticides. These practices have eroded and degraded soil while polluting and depleting water supplies, also shrinking the world's forests to make room for more corn, more soy, more livestock. These practices are simply not sustainable. In particularly, irrigating crops is becoming highly problematic as aquifers throughout the world are being depleted beyond their regenerative capacity. Soil degradation is a global problem. Because of these intensive agricultural practices, we have now impacted 75% of the Earth's land surface, which has been degraded through human activities, impacting 3.2 billion people and pushing the planet towards a sixth mass extinction, costing more than 10% of the annual global cost product in loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services. So soil can be a carbon source or it can be a carbon sink. So these dynamics are determined by land management, the way we farm, the way we interact with the soil. The potential to reverse the net movement of CO2 through improved plant and soil management is immense. So let me explain. Photosynthesis. Plants are pulling CO2 from the atmosphere during photosynthesis and store it in biomass. Wood exudates contribute organic carbon to the soil and promote aggregation. And as these woods decompose, storing atmospheric carbon as particulate organic matter in the soil. So soil organic carbon in turn provides aggregate size and stability. After termination, plant matter decomposes into organic matter, a portion of which is called soil organic carbon. Here's another look at this, how this circle, using photosynthesis, plants pulling carbon out of the atmosphere, pulling it into their roots, where then it feeds the soil organic matter, which in turn is the foundation of life. So let's see what are regenerative organic principles. There are 5 core principles on regenerative agriculture that are universal and, in fact, are as old as agriculture. 10,000 years of agriculture have proven these points over and over. So the first one is to minimize soil disturbance. Plowing the soil open as it disturbs the carbon inside the soil and as it escapes. Crop diversity, each crop takes different nutrients out of the soil. So putting in the same crop like corn or soy over and over and over depletes the organic matter from the soil, turns it into dust. Keep the soil covered at all times, meaning once the cash crop is harvested, there needs to be a cover crop on that soil to keep it protected and to maintain living roots in the soil on a year-round basis. The integration of livestock is an important component. Over the last few decades, we have taken livestock off the field, moved it into centralized intensive feeding operations, which deprives the soil of biomass that is needed, the interaction between the soil and livestock. There's three key outcomes. It's improved soil health, it fosters biodiversity, and it promotes economic resilience in farming communities who are now becoming self-sufficient. So what are the positive externalities of regenerative agriculture? Why is this such an important topic, and why is it being talked about so much? First of all, soil carbon sequestration. There is just no way to remove gigatons of carbon out of the atmosphere in any other way than via photosynthesis and moving it from the atmosphere where it harms into the soil where it helps. Individual farms have seen carbon levels increase by as much as 8% by implementing regenerative agriculture. So that is not just soil health, but it is also the really only viable path to carbon sequestration. Higher water infiltration is the next very important component here. For every 1% increase in soil organic matter, the soil will hold an additional 20 to 25,000 gallons of water per acre. Case studies show that water infiltration rates increase by as much as 8 inches per hour. That is very important because as these intense rainfalls come down and hit soil that is depleted, it runs off and it creates these flooding events. Whereas healthy soil acts like a sponge. It can absorb up to 8 inches per hour of rain, which it then holds on to and releases slowly into the aquifers first of all and into the surrounding streams. Improved human health. There is a clearly established link now between soil health, the health of the soil microbiome, and the human gut microbiome. And this will take center stage within the next few years to come, actually within a fairly short period of time, where people really understand that your whole human gut microbiome depends on the quality of the soil microbiome that has produced the crop you're consuming. Higher farm profitability, there are really two factors in play here. One is that farmers benefit from a reduction in chemical inputs as the soil is repaired and the soil microbiome is restored and there is more carbon in the soil. You need far fewer inputs such as synthetic nitrogen, phosphates, and so on, and less pesticides because the soil has defensive mechanisms here. Another revenue stream comes from the sequestration of carbon. So farmers who can demonstrate a measurable reduction, sequestration of carbon into their soil can capitalize on that and monetize it in the emerging ecosystem services markets. Richer soils, different geographies and crop types shows higher levels of soil organic matter, fine particulate organic matter, total soil carbon, soil nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, sulfur in regenerative systems, and an increase in ecological diversity. Now, we are currently in the middle of a mass extinction, of a species mass extinction, much of which is due to the way we farm. So by eliminating the use of insecticides, for example, our pollinator species can recover. There has been a crisis here in the United States where pollinators simply couldn't withstand these toxins that they are encountering. And then it's important to understand that 80% of our crops require on pollinators to come to maturity. So another issue that is really coming to the forefront in the consumer's mind now is chemical pollution and nutrient deficiency in our food. So first of all is glyphosate. This is a European study here from the ecologists where 99%, virtually the entire population, tests positive for glyphosate residue in their urine, with as much as 10 to 42 times the level permitted in drinking water. Most significantly, the highest amounts of glyphosate residue are found in children, ages 0 to 9. And that is due to Glyphosate, first of all, prevalent in the mother's milk, in the breast milk of mothers, in cereals, in children's cereals, and in foods that now children consume. Important to understand, glyphosate, which is also known as Roundup, is in more than 80% of the U.S. food supply. It is now linked to numerous diseases such as cancer, ADHD, autism, Parkinson's, kidney disease, Alzheimer's. It kills weeds, but its unintended consequences are profound and linked to modern-day plagues. The target of glyphosate in weeds is also an enzyme found in over 2,000 species of bacteria, which are part of the human microbiome and that of other animals. All of these arguments have been tested in court, and the producers of Roundup and these glyphosate products have lost important lawsuits that have been elevated all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, where these claims have been validated and are leading to billion-dollar damages in liability and lawsuits. So that topic is currently contained to the residential use of glyphosate, but clearly it's going to migrate into the commercial sector. The case has been laid out, and the information is leaking into the public sphere. Nutrients in the soil. A teaspoon of soil contains more microbes than there are people on the planet, and perhaps as many as 10,000 individual species. The soil really is the foundation of life. All of life on land originates really in soil, whether that is directly through insects and higher forms of worms and mammals and so on, and feeding on them, to plants that in turn feed us and animal life. So our food is lacking nutrients. Scientists across the globe are warning us of soil depletion and how tilling, chemicals, and overprocessing are harming our food sources. These modern farming practices don't allow the soil to regenerate properly. We talked about the soil microbiome, leaving out important micronutrients that used to make it to our plates. So while the Green Revolution helped to tackle world hunger, and let's face it, it was a miracle that enabled 8 billion people to come to live on this planet, today we find ourselves with a global food system that in some cases has been designed to deliver calories and cosmetic perfection, but not necessarily nutrition. This is contributing to a phenomenon called hidden hunger, where people feel sated but may not be healthy, as their food is calorie rich but nutrient poor. A major contributor to obesity is people continue to crave food to eat because their body is craving vital nutrients it is looking for, but can't find in the food that is available to a large share of the population. So, supporting the transition. So what does this now mean to the food industry, which is, after all, the primary transmitter from farm to fork, in the middle, the supply chain, the processors. First of all, let's accept that climate change is a reality. It's no longer a debate. The impacts of climate change, which were forecast to start in 2030 and come about maybe 2050, 2060, it's here right now, much faster than we expecting, and advancing at exponential speed, putting enormous risk to our collective well-being. So we have to deal with it. So the repair and restoration of soil and watersheds requires regenerative organic farming practices. To repair the soil requires regenerative farming practices. That means, first of all, locally adapted crops. Crops have, and even crop types and even types of seeds have to be specialized to deal with local soil, the condition and type of soil, access to water, local climates, even down to microclimates, and the socioeconomic conditions of the environment there. So supply chains will need to adjust their sourcing strategies to deal with a far more decentralized food supply. And product types and recipes will also need to accommodate a diverse range of inputs. So let's see what is happening already and where this may be going to, trends in labeling and consumer education. So what we see here, emerging certification standards competing for consumers' attention. One big one that will accelerate quickly is on a fast track to go viral is glyphosate residue free. Certified glyphosate residue free. That is probably the most significant label that is now trending up. The regenerative organic certified label is also trending. It's far more ambitious. The difference between organic certified and regenerative organic certified is that most organic products on the shelf today come from greenhouses, which have no contact with soil. Regenerative organic puts that one step further and refers to crops that are grown in real organic soil. You already see some products, some innovators coming online with these oats help save the planet, regenerative organic instant oatmeal. You see Good Sam here supporting small farms, indicating a diverse supply chain. But really important to say, don't engage in greenwashing because the public is increasingly aware and being educated by multiple channels that don't focus on pretty pictures, that distract or vagueness, such as using the descriptions that are not in any official definition or verification. Don't make claims that are not third-party verified, and don't distract with labels that entice customers but distract from the environmental impact of irresponsible products. So with that, I wanted to thank you and come to an end here. But what I really would like to leave you with is that we are talking a great deal about the energy sector and not so much about the food and agriculture sector in the context of climate change. But there are wide-ranging estimates within the United Nations, within science bodies, that as much as 1/3 of total emissions are directly due to agriculture, the way we farm. Not just the emissions directly coming out of the soil, but also the use of synthetic nitrogen fertilizer, which is made with huge volumes of natural gas, or pesticides, which are made from oil, or the long logistics networks that ship food all over the world for thousands of miles. So all of that together requires a whole systems change out. And there's no way that we can get ahead of climate change without prioritizing the food supply and the way we grow our food. The energy sector cannot possibly change fast enough to really impact us, to really mitigate the damage we've done to the environment already. It will take way too long, and even if our energy systems went carbon neutral today, the ongoing damage being done by the food and agriculture system would push us over the edge and create a runaway greenhouse effect that we're all worried about. So, yeah, food and agriculture, the food system is dependent on the food manufacturers and on the processed food industry because your supply chain practices, your sourcing strategies impact the ability of the farmer to shift into regenerative practices and change the way they're interacting with their soil. Vitally important, and I would say thank you for considering, thank you for listening, and good luck with shifting into regenerative organic practices. Thank you.
(1881) formula.
Hello, everybody. This is Melinda Roy. I'm the host of this WYN conferences. One second. So this is Melinda Roy. I'm the host of this WYN conferences. So if um, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So we have done with this Saturday session. But if anyone wants to join this session and anyone want to take the pictures on the stage, so I can pull you on the stage. So just give the thumbs up so that I can pull the members on the stage. Please raise your hands. Lativia. So Lativia is here. So if anyone wants to join the session, please join. Please raise your hand so that we can pull you in the front stage. Anyone? We need to take the pictures. Just raise your hands. Okay, Dr. Violet. Okay. Anybody? So what about Caroline, Cheryl, Elizabeth Jackson, Brooklyn Thomas? Okay, I'll pull Dr. Violet. I'll pull you to the front stage. Please raise your hand, Dr. Violet. Steve, can you please pull her to the backstage, Dr. Violet? Okay. So Lativia, so how is the experience as a speaker with WYN conferences? Can you share your experience with us?
I think it was really nice. I think it was really nice. One of the challenges that I had was trying to my get my information up there. My I had a lag, but I really enjoyed the conference and how everything is going. I think it's a really cool platform, and I really enjoyed it. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak and share.
Thank you so much, Lativia. So, so just wait a minute so that another speakers will also join. Okay, I think she is not coming to the backstage. That's okay. So thank you so much, Latrina. So we already took the photo of you. So now, yeah.
Did you
Just
say something
now,
before you went off the stage?
sorry.
Did you say something before you clicked before you went off video?
No, 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 no. Only
Oh, okay.
our team members have clicked the photo. Okay.
So you
Thank you
already
so
took the
much.
picture.
Yeah.
I hope
Yes,
I
they
was
took the
ready.
picture. Okay, I'll tell them to take picture now. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Ready? One, two, three. We are the win.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Latrivia. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.
So, yes, this is Melinda. I'm the host of the WYN conferences. Thank you so much for your great presentations, and thank you for so much for your support as well. Um, So I'm concluding this. So really, my heart goes out to thank all our respective speakers for accepting our invitation to join us at WYN in Croatia Summit 2022 on behalf of the WYN organization. So we would like to thank with lots of gratitude and respect our own speakers for not only sharing their valuable time for us to praise this occasion, but also for sorry, but also for enlightening us with their commendable talk on the subject. So, on behalf of WIN Conferences, I sincerely thank and acknowledge every one of you who extended help to us for making this event a grand success. So, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates and speakers of the conference for their presence and contribution to making this conference a great success. So, see you until next event. Bye bye. This is Melinda signing off.